Derek, how's the squad looking heading into this one?
Yep, everybody, it was available last week, available again this week, just Kyle Vassell and Stuart Findlay out the senior ones. So Stuart still looking between middle to end of March for him, and Kyle Vassell, we're hopeful to get him back into some sort of football work. Maybe by the middle of next week, all being well. We have you maybe after Ross County to increase his workload, but he's back running Vass as well, which is good to see him, and Stuart. Good to see them back running and doing a bit of work. Kilmarnock McInnes came off last week. Just felt a wee bit of irritation in his knee, just wanted to make sure everything was okay, so we got him scanned, and thankfully everything was clear. Thought there may have been cartilage, but he's all good. So full squad to choose from, other than Vass and Stu.
You've obviously had a couple of injury issues. Is it looking quite good now? Your squad looking quite full when you see who's available? Yeah,
but I'm conscious every time I say the squad's looking good, then it quickly changes. So I think that we've had a lot of key players missing. I think getting Matty Kennedy even back on the pitch, McInnes on the pitch last week, it was a wee bit self-indulgent, 3-0 up, a good chance to maybe get these boys on and just to integrate them again. Big McCrory getting back even on the bench last week and getting a full week's training again this week just bolsters us in terms of options and experience and strength. So listen, we're going into the business end of the season. You want to be as strong as you possibly can be. Every club's the same. Every club's had to deal with some sort of form injuries. We've known troubles to seek clearly, but hopefully we are coming out the end of it.
You mentioned going into the business end of the season. Have you ever known it to be this tight between so many teams going into kind of this stage of the campaign?
Probably not. I think even when you see the spread of points, I think as a comparison to this time last season, I think third and fourth place with so much many more points and everything's all tight and congested. I think I spoke after the game last week. I think Motherwell won 1-6, St Mirren won 1-6, Aberdeen won 1-6, Dundee United won 1. You think, who's winning all the games? It's like everybody's just slitting each other's throat, and a lot of draws and a lot of tight games, and I don't see that changing, to be honest. And I think even from a St Johnstone perspective, they wouldn't be getting it up. I still think they've got the quality to go on a run, and I think everybody's got everybody's probably got that responsibility and that onus to try and get on a run. We've obviously 2 wins back to back, which we're pleased about, but it's only managed to get us where we are now, and we need to keep winning games if we want to be the top 6 team that I want us to be. So we've got an important week coming up. It's an important run of games, 7 games before the split, and we just want to try and come out of that with the victories that we feel we need to be a top 6 team.
That will be massive though, just trying to build on, if you can get a couple of victories in a row and then keep on trying to build on that and get a bit of momentum. Could momentum basically be the difference in finishing between maybe 5 or 6 places in this league?
Yeah, it is, and I think that every manager will be saying the same, just to try and stay unbeaten for as long as he can, stay in a winning run as long as he can, and that could be the difference, top 6 or bottom 6. So I still have the belief that we should be driving the club and getting demands to try and be a top 6 team, despite our challenges. I think over the last 2/3 of the season we've performed, and the points tally has showed we're a top 6 team. I think after an initial slow start, and there was loads of reasons for that, I think our points shows that we are a top 6 team. We now need to try and maintain that and even improving that between now and the 7th game between this now and the split.
Given that it is so tight, Derek, is getting into the top 6 and looking towards Europe, is it more about avoiding a relegation battle but not being in the bottom 6 coming the...
No, I think that makes a lot of sense, but we're not even thinking of that, and I don't want my players to think it. I think I've always tried to remain positive through some difficult results and injuries and stuff like that, and I still believe that we've got to have the mindset. I've been far more positive than that, and it's just try to be a top 6 team. If you're in the top 6, you've got a chance of Europe, of course, but we've got a points tally in mind that we think gives us a chance, and I think that's attainable for us with the games remaining. But we've got to perform to each game as it comes. There's a different challenge on Saturday up at Aberdeen as to the one we had here against St Johnstone, and some games are a bit more difficult to win than others, but you have to do a lot right to win games in the Premier League, particularly this season with how tight it is, and we just need to focus on our own performances, focus on what we can deal with. And any time I've spoke to the players over the last few years that don't be dependent on others will let you down. It's just up to us to deal with our own business. And I think if we can take that responsibility on, meet that responsibility head on, then I believe there's good things to happen for us this season.
What's the one attribute in particular you're looking for in this running?
Just keep the motivation high and stay positive, because I think the talent's here to win games in the Premier League. That was two things, but I do think like everything else, keeping your squad as healthy as possible can make a difference as well.
Obviously, you would hope not, Derek, but just with how tight it is in the table, as you mentioned now, do you see it going right to the 7th game to decide who's going to get the 5th or 6th spot?
Probably, it normally does. It normally does in any given season, but I think particularly this season, you couldn't call it. And I think every team, I think most managers will be probably saying a lot of what I'm saying, that they still hang on to that hope of a bit more and getting everything they can for the season. And this time last year we looked nailed on. I think with 4 or 5 games to go, maybe 4 games, we get the result at Tynecastle that allowed us to be a top 6 team. So we did it with a wee bit more comfort, and we actually enjoyed probably the last part of the campaign. The enjoyment comes from winning, and at the minute it's just focusing on trying to find your best formula, your best ways of winning games, and that's where we're at. It's actually, aside of everything that's happened up until now, it's all about what we do from now on in, and I'm confident we've got the answers to drive home some more victories.
Having some guys back now, does that alleviate any pressure for you, or because it is tight in the run-in, does it remain the same level going into every game?
Yeah, I think it's important to have key players. Arguably, Stuart Findlay and Vassell would get into the majority of teams in the Premier League, and they've been key players for me. Matty Kennedy was a huge bonus getting involved in training last week, and he was probably our most creative player at the start of the season, and Matty can be a difference maker, and we've probably not had enough of that this season in terms of tight games. I think we're only 1-1 less than we were this time last year. So guys like Matty and Vassell and Stu Findlay keeping clean sheets, and a big part of that. They're obviously, it's vitally important that we can get them and keep them fit as well. But everybody's got a part to play.
There's a lot of players in this team who helped achieve a European place last season. How important can their experience and the taste of that be in this run-in?
Well, I think it is important, but I'm hoping it is pivotal, to be honest. I'm hoping that the motivation is high. I think we all enjoyed the European. It was difficult balancing it all, and it was a challenge. But I think, it's the majority, if not every day, bar 1 or 2, were here at this same stage last year. And although the league's different, it's a lot tighter. We're 1-1 less than we were last year, so we know what it took to go over the line last year. We're hoping that you draw on any sort of positivity and experiences of that, but we know that dealing with our own games over each 90 minutes and dealing with each game and treating each game with the kind of the merits it deserves is so important. We've not got the luxury of too many off days now, and it's important that we sense that and grab the opportunities there.
What kind of challenge are you expecting at Pittodrie, and how much confidence can you take from that 4-0 win last time you played against them?
Yeah, I think we played well that day. It was probably a game where I think the manager said it's probably as poor as they've been, and it was a kind of at the start of their kind of poor run. We were very strong that day. I thought attacking, defending, everything about us that day was really strong. But it is a different game. I think they're in a different place at the minute. Aberdeen, obviously they've only had 1 league victory recently, but I think even that, a club like Aberdeen can get a lot of confidence for it. There's a lot of new players. I think they're one of a few clubs who in January can actually deal with any issues and problems in the transfer market, and they've been probably as active as any club from the Premier League. And a lot of the signings that the manager's made are straight into the team, and I think you can see from last week's game they've won a difficult game at Dundee, and knowing the club as I do, the club, the fans, everybody will take confidence for that. So it's a tough game, but we've got to go up there and make it tough for them as well. All right, cheers.
Thank you.